I own a large private fleet, so this is what I do. And a lot of people get into this game without studying the science of dispatching. You need to learn all your states before you dispatch. Each trailer has its own market, meaning you can't dispatch a flatbed trailer the same way you dispatch a dry van trailer or reefer trailer. They have two different markets, and each state has its own market for each type of trailer and trucking you have. You won't survive freestyling the load board every week. The same money a truck can generate running 10 states, that truck can generate the same money running 3 states. And guess what? Spend less fuel. So it makes more money. So before I...
ALEXEN trucking, Atlanta, Georgia. Yeah, we taking y'all backstage. Holla, holla. I'm focused, man. Tell Andrew to holla at me, man. ALEXEN trucking, you heard? ALEXEN trucking, you heard? Yeah. Yes, y'allin'. ALEXEN still hauling.
Hey guys, so before I start this video, this is my style of dispatching that works for me and has worked for me. So I just wanted to make that clear because my dispatching is not the holy grail of dispatching. I will share some of the science behind dispatching and how you need to learn your states and how your dispatching should evolve around saving expenses to make a profit. So before I start, dear Lord, give me the wisdom to serve the viewers in a way that's pleasing to you. So my words will serve and this content will serve the viewers who is meant to serve. In Jesus' name, I pray. Amen. All right, let's get to it. So here it is. I have dispatched over the road, regional, and local. The most amount of trucks I dispatched solely by myself was 14. I was making a lot of money, but I had no life. Nevertheless, it made me very sharp on how to dispatch a truck. In trucking, you have to learn your states. You want to target states that have both good inbound and outbound load volume. You want to charge premium to deliver to states that have low outbound load volume so that you make a lot of money going in because you will make mediocre money to come out, but you compensate for charging premium to deliver there. For example, Florida is a terrible state to get a load out of, so you charge extra to deliver there. To make money to get out of South Florida, you don't take one load out. You have to bounce your way out, meaning you take a load to Orlando, then take a load to Jacksonville, and then you take a load from Jacksonville to Atlanta. Fuel is higher the more west you go, so you don't want to haul heavy freight going to the west unless you charge premium to cover it. But even sometimes charging premium don't matter if that weight is crazy. When I used to run my trucks to California, the money wasn't great going there, but the money was great coming out of there. When running to California, you want to fill up your truck and refuel your truck once you get to like Arizona, so the tank can last you crossing into California and crossing out of California. You don't want to be caught in California with low fuel. You have to study what states have both good inbound and outbound load volume for the type of trailer you're hauling, because the type of trailer does determine the volume of loads that will be available to you. Atlanta, North Carolina, and South Carolina are states you don't have an issue going in and out. But you have to also understand parameters within the states, even if the state has a good in outbound load volume. For example, North Carolina is a great state overall, but you don't want to run a load far east of North Carolina because you might have to deadhead to the middle where the heartbeat of the heavy load volume is at. And then after you find a load in the middle, because the middle of North Carolina is always hot, and after you find a load, then you loop your way back down. That's just an example, and I could give a lot more, but my point is that you have to learn your states before you start dispatching a truck. You have to learn the terrain of the states, meaning what routes have a lot of way stations, what routes have heavy construction, etc. It's a science to it. After all my experience of dispatching, I realized what my model was, which was flatland, 35 in a triangle. Flatland, meaning I focus on keeping my trucks as flat as possible because you burn way more fuel pulling mountains and steep hills. 35,000 meant I want to do my best in keeping loads under 35,000 pounds because you burn more fuel when you pull heavier weight. Triangle means I want the trucks to run only through 3 to 4 states, so I keep them running in a triangle. So I taught myself how to study the map and the load board, and I started to notice commonalities. I studied the load board the same way I used to study the financial markets when I was in college. So it was pretty easy for me to notice patterns and commonalities that showed me profit opportunities because I already had experience with a lot of technical analysis when it came to the financial markets. And I noticed reefer freight was good, but it has seasonal spikes where you can make a lot of money and seasons where the spike goes down and you don't make as much money. I noticed flatbed freight paid well, but not all drivers have flatbed experience. And flatbed also has its seasons where it spikes in volume and seasons when the volume spikes down. I noticed dry van freight didn't pay as much, but it had consistency no matter the season. Also, some flatbed and reefer loads can be loaded on the dry van, which opens up your freight options for freight. Whereas reefer loads can't go on the flatbed and flatbed loads can't go on the reefer, which puts parameters on what you can haul. So I said to myself, I only want to haul dry van. Because in trucking, you make your money by consistent work. I don't mind making a little less if I can guarantee I have work all seasons and I can make the same money all seasons. Also, reefer loads require the driver to do more work by making sure the temperatures are adjusted. And if a driver forgets to adjust the temperature for any reason on a reefer, then it can ruin the freight and it will be a big insurance claim. Also, a reefer trailer is expensive to rent and expensive to own. If the engine on a reefer goes out, it can cost you as much as an engine on a truck. Flatbed load, drivers have to be trained on tarping and other things in regards to securing the load, and they have to stop every so often to check their straps and chains and all that stuff. Driving doesn't require extra work like that other than picking up and going. So that's what I put my focus on. Also, dry van trailers are cheap. They're the cheapest to maintain and rent of all the trailers because it's just a dry box. Now, back to dispatching. I realized running more states doesn't mean you make more money. I figured out how I can run less states but gross the same amount of money as a truck that runs multiple states. So the states I focused on was Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, Alabama, Tennessee, and a little bit of Florida. These states are mostly flat, except for some parts in Tennessee and North Carolina. In Tennessee, I wouldn't go past Chattanooga because mountains and all that. I don't like mountains. Alabama, I don't go towards Dothan because it's a dry spot and you have to pray to find a load to get you out of there. Also, I don't go past Montgomery and McAllen. North Carolina, I stay below Garner. Florida, I don't go past Jacksonville unless the money has to be really good, like it was back in 2018, for me to go past Jacksonville. So that was my triangle offense before I went fully local like I am now. But I also have to understand the science, because if I see a load to Jacksonville from Atlanta paying $1,300 and it's 40,000 pounds, and I see a load to Charlotte from Atlanta paying $800 and it's 30,000 pounds, personally, I will always take the Charlotte load because even though it's less money, it weighs less. So I will save fuel expenses, and it's a shorter distance, and it's a great area to grab a load out of. It's one of the few areas where you can make the same money coming in and out. And since the distance is so short, you may be able to grab another load the same day for the same money or more. The Jacksonville load pays more, but it weighs more, and you will either have to go to Anheuser-Busch in Jacksonville, even though the deadhead will be low, that load gonna be heavy. The Anheuser-Busch in Jacksonville to get a load is always heavy, and they weigh up to 45,000 pounds. So you can't fill your tanks, because if you fill your gas tanks, you'll be overweight. And if you're gonna go to Anheuser-Busch, the broker is always telling to you, come with a half a tank or come with a quarter of a tank, because they always put so much weight. So if you don't want to carry the heavy weight, even though the deadhead is short, if you're in Jacksonville, then you will have to deadhead. And you may have to deadhead to the Dollar Tree in McClellan, Florida. And you better hope you're not late on your appointment, because my truckers know exactly what I mean. They don't play about those appointments at Dollar Tree. Or you will have to deadhead to the Walmart in Alachua that may not be heavy, but you will have to negotiate high to cover the deadhead miles you ran to get there. And the push comes to shove, then you'll have to deadhead to Savannah, where you will always be able to get something out of to bring you back north. And I can give a lot more examples of the science and how I view dispatching, but my point is, There's a learning curve I had to go through to figure it out. When you're running a fleet, you want to have your trucks doing the same thing because it makes everything a lot smoother. You want to have your dispatchers keeping your trucks in a triangle. You want to do your best to keep your trucks as flat as possible, and if you have to carry heavy weight, then the price has to be premium to take that load. You want to haul freight that makes the same money all seasons. You want to haul commodities that's recession proof, such as water, groceries, recycling plants, dog food, tires. Now, water and dog food are always heavy, but the consistency pays because it gives your fleet a lot of volume, and volume helps scales your fleet quicker. I used to do a lot of Niagara, Crystal Geyser, Nestle, and Purina. They have loads all day long because when you haul a commodity that is consistent, it has a lot of volume in it, it makes dispatching a walk in the park. But when you have to freestyle the load board and dispatch 14 to 30 trucks, then having a strong model is imperative because when you have to freestyle every week, I define it as a new puzzle every week that has to result in the same outcome, which is profit. The goal is to make your dispatching a consistent puzzle so that you can make consistent money every season. And that's what I did when I was running regional and all that. So that's everything I have for y'all today. Thank y'all for tuning in. I'm so grateful for the new subscribers, the comments, the Instagram DMs. Thank y'all so much. And I enjoy making this for y'all. So I will see y'all on the next episode. Like, share, subscribe, comment. See you on the next episode.